Welcome everyone. Today we'll be looking at 5 very important tips for anyone that's planning to play Genshin Impact. Whether you are free to play or if you're planning to spend a bit in the game, those tips will help you a lot on the way. As most of you know, a free to play game usually have its pay elements, and this can range from $5 for a starting package or a monthly card, and up to over hundreds of dollars, and you can recharge continuously to however you desire. Unlimited recharge plus the gacha mechanics with uncertainties of units makes a lot of money for gaming companies. But as a consumer and a player, you are mentally vulnerable to the psychological factors of the gacha system, and they also designed in such a way they want to promote spending. So, what are your risks? You are looking at something as simple as $5, $10 a month, up to over hundreds and thousands of dollars a month. And if you have seen a previous video on how much you can actually spend on the global release of Genshin Impact, you'll be surprised that to get everything in the game, it will cost over $20,000. In order to enjoy a gacha game responsibly, I have a few suggestions for everyone. Firstly, we should set a budget for the game. If I'm buying a game from the shop, if it's very polished, I'm happy to spend $50 to $100. Maybe I'll spend a month on the game, and maybe next month I'll buy a new game. So I should have a gaming budget for me. And most of the time, we should not spend over this budget. My second suggestion is to delay the in-game purchase for at least 12 hours or maybe 24 hours. Most of the gacha game excels in impulse spending, maybe rage purchase or maybe emotional purchase. Because you feel angry, because you want to feel good, you'll be spending at this moment. But if you delay yourself from spending for 12 hours or maybe 24 hours, then coming back to it, you think about it, there's no need to spend. You feel okay, and you feel much better later on, and you have no desire to spend to make yourself feel better. Gambling addictions can be developed from trying to feel better by spending, and this is the part we do not want to get into. And this is not the goal for us to play Genshin Impact. We're here to have fun, enjoy the environment, enjoy the music, enjoy the story, and play with friends. The most important resource in the game is Primal Gems, which is the in-game currency that can be purchased using money or you can acquire in a number of ways. Over here on the fandom for Primal Gems, you can see that by doing commission, Spiral Abyss, and other events, you can acquire up to 30 roles within a month, and the game is likely to have more rewards for the global release. On top of that, if you want to support the developers with a monthly card with battle passes, those prices varies from $5 to $10, and those can be something that you can consider to set into your budget. And this will take us to about 60 or over 60 roles within a month. The most important concept in a gacha game is to save your currency. You should not be trying to get every unit within the game. You should be skipping banners which you do not feel that's necessary to you. If you really want a good banner, make sure you research the time and the duration of the banner. For example, the Venti banner will be coming up on global release. This is a helpful banner, and Venti can be great for dungeons and a lot of events. And if you don't feel like you want Venti, you can save the resource for the next banner. Similarly, there are banners like the weapon banner that might not be too beneficial for players with little or few 5-star characters. So those banners may be a skippable banner to allow you to save for enough currency to guarantee a PT at 90 rows or a PT at 180 rows. It is important to see that saving for future banners is a long-term investment. I like to see it as an exercise for my self-control. Sometimes I lose a bit of control, but most of the time I'm really happy that I can control myself and not to click here and here just to spend one wish or here and there. I want to save for the PT rows. On the topic of saving for PT rows, I will also be preparing a guide which doesn't require any rerolling, and the guide will focus on using the characters that the game gives to us to play the game throughout the early game, to the mid game, and to the late game. Going deeper into resource management, what we can do is there are 3 crucial things that you want to manage your resource. The first item, or the first thing to look at, is those experience books. There is a limited number of experience books at the start of the game, so we should really look into leveling 1 to 2 characters to higher levels. You can level all characters to level 20, that's fine. To level 40, you should consider 1 to 3, maybe maximum 4, and to level 60, aim for 1 or 2 characters to level 60. After character experience, we have the weapons. Most of the weapons that I recommend leveling is level 3 or level 4 weapon. And to level a weapon, what you do is you can click on the weapon, click on enhance, and you'll be prompted to different resources that you can use to enhance. You can use the enhanced gems that you mined from the ground or from the quest, from the chest, or you can use other weapons. Keep in mind, if you do enhance a lower level weapon, it's not the end of everything, because after testing and checking on the internet, it is 90% transferable experience. For example, if I spent one weapon to level this weapon to level 4, and if I were to use this weapon to be as a material to level my current weapon, whatever experience went onto this weapon, including itself, 90% of the experience will be transferred into the next weapon. But you do lose 10% of the experience in the process. So that's why it's recommended to level a 3-star weapon. Later, if you get a better weapon upgrade, you can level by eating away this weapon as material for the next weapon. Lastly, it is absolutely crucial if we look into artifacts and keep the resource for artifacts leveling. By clicking to artifacts, you can see some of the artifacts actually have a different stats. Different stats are also associated to the different stars of the artifact. You should really be looking to level a 3-star artifact, 4-star or 5-star of course, and you should be really looking to level the correct substat. There is the set stats, which is unchangeable. There's also the randomized substats. You can see this one, we can get 6.6% defense, and as we level this higher, the defense will go higher by percentage. This one has a HP percentage, so if you're really looking for get your character in a special stats, which we'll go into another guide, you should really focus on the artifact that gives you correct stats. For example, here we have the pyro damage bonus, but my character doesn't do pyro, so this is not going to be a good item even if it's 4-star for my wind of electric characters. So be aware of the substats of the artifacts. Very similar to the weapons. If you're leveling the artifacts, and if you happen to have leveled a wrong one at the start, say a tier 1 or tier 2, it is transferable experience. 90% of the experience can go to the next tier, but at the same time, you don't want to waste any experience. So I recommend leveling a 3-star or maybe a 4-star if you can. If you really can't, leveling a 2-star is okay, but don't level too much. You don't want to lose the 10%. And later, when you get a better artifact, you can just eat using the old artifact and just use that as enhancement materials. It's really nice after discovering that 90% of the experience is transferable. My next tip is for the user interface and the quality of life in the game. Some of you might have known and some of you might have noticed that you can actually go and set your own customized pins in the game. And this is actually very helpful as you go across the map exploring. There's some parts of the map you might not sure how to solve the puzzle. There's other parts of the map you can't acquire the special item because you don't have the characters for it. There's also great herb gathering skills you can start putting now to improve your experience in the game in the future. For example, I've set a pin over here as I found 2 very nice ice herbs, which can be used to craft ice elemental resistance for 30% defense against bosses in the future. You'll be collecting a lot of herbs throughout the game, and some of them do come back in a day or 2. And if I know where the herbs are, if I'm short on those herbs in the future for crafting, I can come back to this waypoint and run towards the herbs. And this allows me to quickly collect all my resources and to be more efficient in the future gameplay. In the mid game and late game, you'll be using a lot of herbs, a lot of potion, and a lot of cooking materials. And our next tips, we're going to show the potions and herbs and a lot of the cooking things to massive effect. And yes, to do one, let me demonstrate one. What you do is you right click on, so you left click onto the map, and after that you try to use a different, you can try to use a different tag for, we can try to use a different tag for different scenarios. For example, if it's an unsolved puzzle for me, I can click on the star, maybe that's my puzzle tag, and I can just go puzzle. And I can say chest. This way, once I confirm over here, I can have the pin over here. By clicking onto it with left click, you can see that it says puzzle and chest. And this allows us to travel across the world and to know some of the most important parts we saw and to not have to come back and redo those things. Next up, we have Alchemy. Alchemy is for crafting potions and a lot of other materials. Alchemy table is located in Mon-Saturday, and where you are is right next to the portal. So right next to the teleportation waypoint, you can see there's an alchemy table. By interacting with the alchemy table, there's a lot of recipes we can craft them. You can see the potions. Those potions are very powerful, so let me show you the potions here. I can craft a wind barrier potion, which increases the resistance to air damage by 25%. For the whole party member. I can also craft a force shield potion, which reduces the cryo damage. So in fact, if you're facing a boss of the element and if you have trouble against the boss, not only can you use the food to increase your stats, increase your HP, you can also use potion to reduce the damage you're taking. There are also offensive potions which increase the elemental damage done by the whole party member. For example, we have a flame potion that gives us pyro damage by 25% for the whole party, and the items can also be gathered across the world. Alchemy also allows us to create essential materials for character upgrades. You can see different characters require different materials, and if you can't find them in the world, you can also craft them over here with Alchemy. If you find enough of the low-grade items in the world against world bosses, you can come back over here and craft them for the higher character ascension for the max level characters. Over here I'll show 2 quick replays of us finding special materials across the map for alchemy and for potion making. First of all, you can see it is a frozen flower. You can't interact with a frozen flower until you do elemental damage to it. And luckily enough, there's things around the flower for us to do elemental damage next to it. And the exploding fire orbs actually does damage to me and the flower. After the flower gets damaged, what you can do is you can come back to the flower and loot the flower. And here we just found a mist flower color. And this is one of the items that you use for alchemy. On the second replay, we have found some dandelions across the field. And let's see how we interact with those. So here I'm showing the waypoint. Right next to the waypoint, there's 2 dandelions. As a bonus tip, if you're looking for dandelions for leveling up your characters, for the wind potions, there's a bunch of them outside of the city of Mon-Saturday. So let's have a look how would you get the dandelions out of the flower. Firstly, you can try to shoot it, it doesn't work. And you can try to normal attack it, it will not work. So what you need to do is you need to cast elemental spells onto the dandelions. For here, we're going to use a wind spell. By casting wind spells, you can now loot the dandelion. We also got the wind and the star traveler. So not only do you get the dandelions, you also get an achievement for it. This is very nice as we collect potions, materials for the future use of the mid game and late game. My last tip for this video is to enjoy the game. This is very important. You're here to enjoy the game, you're here to relax. So play the game at your own pace. You don't have to search all the guides, the best ways to level up, the best ways to get the best weapons, the best ways to kill bosses, and the fastest leveling. You can do that if this is what you enjoy, but for most of us, there's no need to rush. Because it's not a PvP game, you're not competing with someone else. You're here to enjoy the PvE elements, the story, the music, and by playing at your own pace, you're less likely to burn out. Thank you everyone for watching this guide and the support on the channel. If you like my videos, make sure you subscribe and click the little bell for notifications of future GENSHIN IMPACT guides and GENSHIN IMPACT videos. We'll also be making a guide on not rerolling, just play the game normally, and what are the free characters we can use to make sure we go through the startup, mid-game, and also late game. Also, there will be focused videos on food cooking, and also ingredients, recipes, different characters. There will also be videos on gathering of materials for potion making and alchemy. What are the best places to gather those materials? And as I upgrade my map, if you guys are interested, I'll share you guys with the herb tips, and also food tips, and also the material gathering, maybe mining as well. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.